Ladies and gentlemen, your heavy equipment, loaders, and parts sprint car showdown is green. Lance Deweese going to lead them into one. Dietz on the move early. Hello. Problems for Brock Zierfoss as he's having challenges there, keeping the front end on the ground. Man on the move early is Chase Dietz. Dietz around the outside of Cameron Smith. Hello. Lance Deweese to the Rabine Service Center. Start zone. Green, green, green. Good start for Brent Marks. Oh, Lance Deweese knew it was coming. Took over that real estate. Deweese up the banking at 4. He'll lead lap number 2. Marks is second. Cameron Smith now. 75 car. Good run down the front straightaway. Closed on the 19. Deweese shows the way. 2.5 car lanes, the advantage over Brent Marks. 12 car through the middle. Man, is he looking good. A little bobble there in 4. It will not cost him because Marks bobbles on exit of 4. Cameron Smith is there. Smith slides up the banking on the exit of 2. Chase Dietz under him. 23 car makes a bid for the 3rd spot. He'll slide him in turn number 4. Got him. Chase Dietz into 3rd. Cameron Smith shuffled back to 4th. Anthony Macri now rounding out your top 5. Your leader, Lance Deweese, has caught the tail end of the field 6 laps into our 30-lap feature event. Anthony Macri around Cameron Smith. Macri up to 4th. Brent Marks had to get out of the throttle there. That allows Dietz to close in. Chase Dietz all over the 19 car for the runner-up position. Your leader, Deweese, around the bottom of 4. Pretty move there as he puts Samuel Miller a lap down in the 45S. Brent Marks will try to do likewise through 1 and 2. Marks within 2.5 car lengths of your leader, Deweese. So it's Lance Deweese, Brent Marks, Chase Dietz, Anthony Macri, and Cameron Smith, your top 5. 9 laps scored, 21 remaining. Deweese, the cagey veteran from Fayetteville, Pennsylvania, continuing to show the way as he picks his way through the back of the field. Oh, car came out from under him there. Brent Marks moves by. 19, your new race leader. Hello. Marks trying to get down to the bottom. JT Ferry is there. Marks right across the nose of the 18J. He'll put Ferry a lap down. Chase Dietz around Lance Deweese into the 2nd position. 23 car now going to give chase. Marks out front. We'll check the gap here. 12 laps into this one. 1.24 seconds in front of Chase Dietz. Lance Deweese is 3rd. Anthony Macri 4th. Brock Zierfoss now into that 5th position. Chase Dietz has cleared the back markers. 2.17 seconds between the 19 of Brent Marks at the front of the field and the 23 of Chase Dietz, but there is no one between them. Brent Marks, your leader. 2nd, the 23 of Chase Dietz. 3rd, the 12 of Lance Deweese. 4th, the 39M of Anthony Macri. 5th at the halfway point, the 3Z of Brock Zierfoss, as the 17 junior of Spencer Baston heads to the infield. Anthony Macri around Lance Deweese for that 3rd position. But out front right now, it is all Brent Marks. 17 laps complete, 13 remaining. Chase Dietz beginning to close now as Marks is back in traffic. Smoke from the 41 of Logan Rumsey. He is off the pace up against the fence in turn number 4. Caution flag will wave. Pretty good start for Anthony Macri. 39M car to the inside of Chase Dietz. Can't make it work. Brock Zierfoss around Lance Deweese. 3Z car into 4th. Marks out front and motoring 0.8 of a second. He just opened up on the field in one circuit. 12 to go. Marks, Dietz, Macri, Green. Good start for the 23 of Dietz. Oh my goodness, Brent Marks. 19 car just rimmed 1 and 2 like it was his full-time job. Well, I guess it is. Marks your leader with 10 to go. 3/4 of a second, the advantage for the 19 machine. Marks hot out of the chute once again. 3-car battle over in turn number 2 for the 6th position. Things getting tight there. Freddie Raymer on the move. Brock Zierfos dips beneath the 75 of Cameron Smith. Able to reclaim that spot. Your leader on a rail right now. Marks to the high side of 3 and 4. White flag in the air. Final time around for Brent Marks. Macri underneath of Dietz for second. He'll clear him with the slider. Up over the cushion. Dietz returns serve back into second. But off of turn number 4, the checkered flags will wave. 7th career win for Brent Marks at Vaps Motor Speedway.
SprintCarUnlimited.com coming to you from Baps Motor Speedway Sprint Showdown, final 410 race of the season. We'll let that sink in for a minute. Chase, many times, second place, second again tonight. But boy, a good way to end the year, still showing speed.
Yeah, we joke about the seconds all year long, but we're there. We're competing for the wins. We're up front. You put all them the first, seconds, and thirds together this year, it makes up a majority of our finishes. So it's now we got time to kind of reflect on our season, and I've been doing so the last couple weeks. But just incredible year for our team. First year together for everyone, and just the amount of work that obviously was put in throughout the season. It's a long year, and we had our ups to start the year, had a couple downs throughout the season. Talk about getting our butts kicked, going out of town, and that's the stuff we needed. And we've been able to grow as a team, build more and more chemistry, and just make ourselves stronger for next year and moving forward. So to end the year the way we have, that's. It's great momentum heading into the off season. Knowing we still got that speed. We have a little bit of work to do at places, but we're not going with our heads in the dirt. So it's a great feeling, great year for all of us. Very proud of what we were able to accomplish. These guys, just a great group of people. John and Kelly, amazing owners. And I'm just very grateful to be in the position that I am with all these guys, and I'm enjoying every single night we're able to come out here and compete.
That race, you get up, you're coming up through there, you start at 6, good pill draw there.
Yeah, wonderful.
It did put you behind everybody and next to Macri, but you were able to get up through there. Brent just got to the lead before you, and then at that point you were chasing, and it's just so hard to make up time.
Yeah, I actually thought, the first half of the race was almost better track conditions to move around, just because everyone's got a load of fuel on. The track was grippier everywhere, and then about halfway on, the track kind of picked its lane, and that's where you were going to be. So we needed more lap traffic, simple as that, just to give ourselves a shot. I felt pretty maneuverable. I was able to run the bottom in some of those with some of those lap cars to sneak my way up to second at that point. And Brent was right there, and by the time he cleared the lap cars and I got the second, he was a straightaway out. So it's how all of these play out half the time. It's just a matter of positioning. If we'd have started a row farther, it might have been a different story. You just never know. You just try and set yourself up as best you can for the situation, and you just see what cards are dealt, and and make the right choice after that. So, again, another good run. We'll take it going into the next year and into the off season. It's a short off season anyway, but we'll be ready to go. Look at everything we've learned throughout the year and make ourselves better next year.
Did you expect this much success this early with this team? It's kind of weird because you were coming out of your team and you guys were clicking, the couple of years you were in that and just kept getting better and better. Come over here. Now, you already had a season with Tommy Carl over at Zemco, but did you really did you expect to just be this good?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say, yeah, I definitely expected it, or it's what I wanted, I should say. It's just going into this, with my own team, again, like you said, like we were having success. I was kind of planning at that point to just kind of keep building with my stuff and get better and better. And when this opportunity, came up, it just kind of looking at, it's a great team from the start. I just wanted to look at and make sure it was the right people, the right group of people, because that's what it takes. You could have all the money in the world and, have all the equipment and everything, but if you don't have the right people together, it doesn't matter. That's why you see teams switching back and forth all the time. But when you have a team like Tony Stewart Racing with Donnie Schatz, and they're together for, I think, over 15 years, those are the teams that have success. You look at Brad Sweet, how long he was with Casey Kane Racing and the championships. David Gravels to that point with the Big Game Motorsports team. For me, it was looking at taking the next step. How was I going to be able to do so? I felt with the group of people here and what was here and what we could accomplish, I felt that was the right move to make. And obviously this year showed that. So it takes a lot of patience, just a lot of communication, simple as that, to make it all work. And I'm a very laid-back guy, so I try and make it as easy as possible to do so. But it's been amazing. I'm very, very lucky to be in the spot. I'm looking forward to next year and continuing to build here, and just love the people involved. It's simply a lot of fun, and we'll just hopefully keep on doing it for a while.
Last thing, what needs to be better, and when are you guys getting started next year? Any thoughts going to Volusia?
Our plan is to go to Florida. We're going to go to Volusia next year, so we're going to start a little earlier yet. But as far as what we need to work on, more so, when we leave PA, trying to be better. I feel like we've gotten our window with our program much tighter, to where I feel we're going to be much more consistent once we get away from Pennsylvania next year. So we just got to do a lot of studying, look at our notes, and put some plans together for some of that once we get our schedule together, and just keep attacking. Simple as that. We're still going to have some of those bad nights. Everyone does, but we're going to learn from them and make sure next time we get back we're better. So a lot to look at, but we have a lot there a lot more that we can accomplish, and looking forward to doing that.
Well, again, congratulations on a solid run.
Thank you.
SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming to you from Babs Motor Speedway. We're here with Sprint Showdown winner Brent Marks. Our second take's definitely better. Yeah. Brent, get a win at Babs. I think you've won this race before, $10,000. It's a good way to go into the offseason.
It is. That's great momentum going into the offseason, and it's just, it was a great day. I mean, our car was awesome from the moment we unloaded and all the way through the race. I mean, it just felt like, we could maneuver anywhere I wanted to, and especially when I got the lap traffic, it got through lap traffic so good, and it was a lot of fun to drive. So, track was really fast today, and narrow, which does make it really difficult to maneuver because things get so tight so fast. But no, my guys did an awesome job. today, and we just felt like we were on point all night today.
The race was, I mean, it was difficult, but you were able to get inside of, Deweese going down the backstretch, lap 11. Car just drove big time off, too, got a run. And once out front, you were able to stretch it out.
Yeah, I felt like we were actually better in traffic than we were by ourselves. But we still carried really good speed by ourselves. But these races are won and lost in traffic, it seems like. And, especially with a track like today, you can't get yourself too tight just because you just scrub so much speed, and you can't make the moves like you need them to make them. So, we made the right calls today, and fell off just a tiny bit at the end, but I don't think it was enough to hurt us. So just really proud to end the season on a high note, be back at BAPS, and race here. I've always loved coming here, and we have a really good program here, so it makes it that much more fun as well. And so I'm just really excited about it.
New crew today, and to me, it seems important to get off to a good start when you have new guys in the pit area. Is that something coming in here was kind of a focal point? Yeah, you want to win 10 grand, that's great, but just to have a solid day with a new crew.
It is, we just want to, got some guys in new positions, and have Graham, who's new and came out there this weekend for this show just to kind of see how it all gelled, and I'm just really proud of them guys, and Tom's still here, and I feel like today went really smooth, really good. I feel like everybody, once we kind of got going, set it into positions really, really nicely. So I'm excited about it. It's really hard. It's really difficult to make any changes, especially when you're with people that you're close with. But it's racing. Everybody's life changes sometimes, and I felt like for where I wanted to be with this team and my goals, I felt like moving in a different direction was best, and so I'm really happy with the way today went. So like I said, that brings us momentum in this off season, gives us something to work towards, and to start next year off fast would be awesome. So we're going to work really hard this off season to build our program to where we're competing for a championship, and we're getting up there in those double-digit wins because we want to win the championships. That's what we need to do, and I think I know we're capable of doing that. We've done it in the past, so we just gotta get ourselves back to that point, and I think this is a step in the right direction to do that.
Going back to high limit next year, it's always nice when you get a $280,000 spread across the year for being fourth in those standings. What needs to improve for you guys to kind of move up the order there? We don't know who's going to be there yet, especially after they released that stuff yesterday, this week.
Yeah.
But what do you guys need to improve on and work on in the off season to kind of take that next step on the road?
Just that average finish. We were a fifth, sixth place car all year long. We obviously got our wins, podiums, but we were more along the lines of just like a fifth, sixth place car. And maybe 10 years ago that could cut it, but it doesn't cut it today. I mean, you gotta be podiums all the time. You have to. That average finish needs to be, better, and you got to win. So, we win 5 races this year with high limits. That's not going to be enough to win a championship. 5 wins in a national series was used to be great, but now it's like you gotta get the 10 plus, and that's what we're going to shoot for. So, there's a lot of things to hone in over this winter, and changes that I want to make, and things that would give us better opportunities. So we're going to work really hard.
Well, congratulations on going into the off season on a high.
Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. Thank you to everybody who calling in, chat. We'll take your questions in a minute. If you'd like to call in, it's hang on a second. It's 1-844-543-8589. I'm not going to do an intro tonight. You guys all know what's going on. We can talk about the high limit fund, Joker's fund, Brent Marks winning at BAPS. We can even hit on some midget stuff that happened on the West Coast, whatever you'd like to talk about. Again, the chat or calling in, and we'll get right into it. Now that the high limit Jokers fund has been released, will there be any potential outlaw teams that change their mind and go with high limit? You know, that's a tough question because I can't get in the minds of these guys. It's going to be tough. The teams that I feel should do it, which would be JJR and Carson Macedo. I mean, they have a lot of ties to the world of outlaws. You have the Jason Johnson Classic, Philip Dietz. That's where they've run. Obviously they're third in points last year. And so I could see them staying. Logan Schuchart, again, a lot of ties to the world of outlaws. Any of the other teams as well in that top six. I don't think it makes sense for everybody to move over. I think there's enough room for both series. I said this morning on the 90 at 9 that I think they could have full rosters with the guys who are running nationally. But the guys who I think should jump, just from an economic standpoint, I don't know if they will. And I think it's just the ties they have with the world of outlaws. I've even mentioned some independents who I think should roll the dice. Ryan Timms, who I think I've said many times should stick with what he's doing. I think if I was Timms and Liebig, I would think twice about it now. I also believe and Anthony Macri, if he was going to ever run a series, I think next year high limit would be the one. Maybe a couple other guys out there who want to do that. So it's tough to say if anybody's going to jump. I can only tell you the teams that I think should jump. High limit needs Macedo more than Macedo needs high limit. I don't think it's a need situation. I think it's economics. It's dollars and cents. Dollars, cents, and good business. And I can make a ton of arguments for Macedo that help Macedo. High limit's going to survive whether Carson's there or not. That's a fact. And then you have to wonder at some point, do some of these teams purchase a franchise down the road? So I don't agree with that statement. I think when you look at the money and what's available, I think it helps both parties. So I don't think it's a need as much as I think it would be good for everybody involved if he was the one who made that jump. Bob on line one. Bob, what do you got for me?
Well, what'd you think of that racing from Australia last week?
I honestly didn't see it. I apologize for that. I was worried about the pay-per-view I had at BAPS, and I had some other things cleaning up some year-end stuff. So I didn't see it. What went on over there?
Well, Kerry Matson and James McFadden and was it Kramer Williams? Or not Kramer, but that Williamson.
Callum Williamson.
They had a hell of a race, and some guy named Kingfisher or something come up and beat them all. But they were really mixing it up. It was pretty entertaining.
Look, the Australian racing's pretty good. Every time I tune into an Australian race, it seems like it's a nip and tuck. It's multiple guys going for the lead, so on and so forth. So it seems like they have a good product over there. Again, they have a governing body. Not, I've said that many times that I think that should happen, and they it's pretty good over there.
I also thought that midget race at Hangtown with Larson and them, that was pretty exciting racing too.
Yeah,
And
no,
I know you're not a midget.
No, I'm not a midget guy, but I mean, look, anytime, I don't think it's a coincidence that you have 410 sprint car guys running up front. I don't think that's a coincidence, and I think that the best guys run 410 sprint cars, and when they get in other divisions, they excel. So, again, it was entertaining. Obviously, the Pursley Larson thing drew a lot of attention, and anytime you have something like that, it's going to be a popular watch.
Now, I've also got to mention, I've told you before, I'm a Austin McCarl fan. Do you think it's just a money thing that would keep him from going on the road with High Limit, with all this new money and stuff that's in there?
I mean, he has money. Country Builders is a very lucrative sponsor and has been with that family for years. I don't think it's a money issue. I think maybe I've talked to him about it, and it's getting your engine program in the right spot. It's about just preparing yourself for a national series isn't something where you just walk out and say, "Hey, I'm going to run a national series." When I talked to him about it, he and this wasn't the High Limit, but I talked to him at the beginning of last year about a series, and it was anything he mentioned was about, getting his motor program in the right spot to do something like that.
Yeah, because I know he's kind of his own crew chief. He does all the work and stuff on the car, so I just figured it was a lack of funds that kept him from having a better team.
I don't think it's lack of funds. I don't. I just think it's getting everything.
Well, I guess that's all I wanted. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right. What else do we got? Are you surprised Wu is heading to Mansfield on their first season back? I know they wanted to do the Ohio thing. I knew, am I surprised? I answered this last week and probably the week before. Surprised is a little strong. I'd say part of me thought they would wait a year. But look, they're going to be at Sharon and they're going to be at Wayne County. I mean, that's it makes sense. The World of Outlaws late models are there. They just aren't waiting a year. So surprised is a strong term, but I did think they would wait until 2027 to do that. And obviously they're comfortable with what's going on there. Jake on line 2. Jake, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going.
Going. That's good to answer. Hey, real quick, you mentioned that JJR could potentially switch to High Limit. Well, in so many words.
I said I think
now,
they should jump to High Limit.
Okay, yeah. So my question would be is why would that be relevant to the cause of their operation? And then from another standpoint is, yeah, I guess the main point is I don't think that would make sense, but
why
would that okay, so they made, let's say they made $150,000 off of the Outlaw points schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like on the third place, they pay this much. Do you think that High Limit did not think about that part where, they took in accounting to the earnings and whatnot. He placed third is what I'm assuming.
Yes, he did.
I just don't see why they would switch. Is my thing is why would they switch if they were guaranteed $350,000, but they could make $750,000, let's say, off of winning and beating the best because the whatever.
Okay, now wait a second.
Outlaw, high limit.
Jake.
Oh, the high limit's better, but
Jake,
yeah.
let me take
Let's
you through
go.
this. So Carson Macedo got approximately $192,000 between point, bonus, and their tow money. That's what they got from the Outlaws for their points. And then, of course, whatever he made from purses. Okay? So I think they might have got a little extra. Somebody from the team told me they got $210 total. Well, you got to remember, High Limit pays purse money too. They have $300,000.
Right, so
they have 3 six-figure paydays. Plus, you can run the High Bank Nationals, Kings Royal, and Knoxville Nationals. All the big shows for the Outlaws, you can run them. Plus, if you win the points.
Did you say 210 or 310?
No. They got about 210. I just figure around $200,000 extra on top of their
counting
purse
their
money.
winnings.
No, that's not counting their winnings. That's not counting purse money night in and night out. That's for points, and that's for bonus and tow money. If you go to High Limit and win the points, you get $350. That's about $150,000 more. Why wouldn't you make that switch?
I mean, you're making the switch against so I think Carson Macedo can beat Rico Abreu for the record.
Yeah, I think he can too.
I'll say that first off. But at the same time, the High Limit, I'm the champion of High Limit is to me, I've been around so many years or whatever, but the prestigious like the king status as opposed to the High Limit. The High Limit is like the All-Stars to me personally.
Wow.
And they destroyed the Ohio and Pennsylvania and Indiana.
How did they destroy
Michigan.
What's changed? Nothing's changed.
Well, they bought the All-Stars and canceled them for a year.
But the All-Stars in Pennsylvania never did anything.
What's that?
The All-Stars in Pennsylvania really never did anything other than Aaron Reitzel.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so but here's the thing.
Yeah, but
you said prestige, and I appreciate you bringing this up because I was kind of waiting for it. Can you pay your rent in prestige?
Can you make something out of nothing within 2 years and make it the lasting thing for 25?
I don't. This is about dollars and cents.
I just don't think it matters. I think it's different. It's totally different, I think, personally. But yeah, the king of the Outlaws is the king of the Outlaws. Like, there's no king of the All-Stars for one, and for two, the High Limit. Like, I don't see the relevance in like 10 years, let's say.
Well, let me ask you this.
Like Rico Abreu being Rico Abreu, daddy's money pays for Rico. Like, what is it really?
Well,
like, it's, you got a year and a half of, he's the tallest midget. Congratulations. Respectfully. I don't mean that in a shitty way. Sorry.
Well, I got a question for you. Who's the number one driver in the country right now?
The number one driver in the country right now.
Because there's a debate. You do know there's a debate over that.
Right.
And it's not Rico.
Yeah, and It's not Rico. You're correct.
The debate is Buddy
I agree with
Kofoid.
that.
The debate is Buddy Kofoid and David Gravel. If the guy who wins the World of Outlaws points is the king, why is Buddy Kofoid considered the number one driver in the country by a lot of people?
Well, because he beat the high limit people, which was the only time.
He didn't beat David Gravel. If the Outlaws point champion means the most, and that carries all the prestige, why do some people, now I'm not saying me, I think David Gravel's the best team and driver in the country. However, there are a lot of,
they're all great.
Yeah, but if you said prestige, and I can tell you in 2022, Brad Sweet won the title. He wasn't considered the best in the country. Brent Marks was.
Okay.
So that tells me that it doesn't matter.
So to me, though, personally, and this is personal, or whatever.
Yep.
But to me, the champion of the whole or whatever, like, it's kind of irrelevant with Rico Abreu. It's kind of irrelevant in sense of, now in terms of, he has not been the World of Outlaw champion, period. Like, he has not been the World of Outlaw champion. And from there, though, it would be, he beat the high limit championship would be like the all-star championship in my terms, because for one, he has never won any championship outside of that championship. And from there, they kind of bought the all-stars and destroyed the all-stars. And then from there made the thing that's high limit. So I just don't see the relevancy with that championship as opposed to David Gravel or Donnie Schatz or these people. They have not been Donnie Schatz. If you look at the stats and the tracks they've won at, Rico Abreu can't win at a 4th mile track. Let's look at that stat. Let's look at the half mile or whatever. Like, yeah, they're good at the half miles and they're good at the 3/8 and they're good at this. I just don't see the relevancy is my point, I guess. And I think it's funny to jump on the bandwagon and to be against the other guy or whatever, but I just don't think it will last. That's my opinion, I guess, I just don't think it will last. All the hype is great, but like, you're going to die with the hype because you're not relevant when you're not relevant.
Hey, is this Jacob Allen?
No, sir. It is not.
You sound like
different Jacob.
Okay, you sound like
different
Jacob.
Part of the world.
but that's okay. He sounded like Jacob. But look, here's the thing. You can say, I'm not saying high limit's better than the Outlaws. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that David Gravel isn't the best driver team in the country. I think they are. All I'm saying is, from a business standpoint and from dollars and cents, for JJR, it makes sense to go to high limit because they're going to make more money. And at the end of the day, you don't pay your bills in prestige. I have an apartment. I can't go to the renter and say, hey, I have these prestige dollars. They don't mean anything when you're paying bills. And the fact is, the All-Stars weren't in good shape before they were bought by High Limit, or Tony Stewart wouldn't have sold
it. And Jeremy, I really do understand that, and I appreciate your portion of like what you mean with that. But at the same time, dude, nobody's going into racing with thinking we're going to make money from racing. Please tell me, name 2 people, I guess, other than Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet, that thought they're going to make money from racing. And from there, you don't make any fucking money.
Well, okay, but
I'm
at some point, At some
I could
point,
be wrong. I'm naive and young.
well, the thing is, though, yes, it's expensive. And then I got to get back to the chat and other calls. But I will tell you this, and I appreciate your call and your opinion on it.
Thank you for having me.
No,
I
no problem.
appreciate that.
But
also.
I'll finish this thought. Yes, it's expensive. And yes, you don't make money per se. However, the big teams, and this is kind of a thing I hear all the time, they don't buy trailers every year. Okay. They don't have their startup costs every year. So when a team banks $1 million in a year, they make money. They'll tell you they don't, but they do. Okay. They do. And now it's very few. That being said, you got to make.
Rico Abreu makes money.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He does.
Now, but here's the thing.
Donnie Schatz, I don't know.
Yeah. You better make sure.
With saving his money by not paying for his operation, he makes money.
But
yes, you're right.
The drivers all make money. But here's the point.
Yes.
You better make this sport better for the owners, because if you don't, there'll be no sport. They're only got to put up money so long.
Yeah, but the people that pay for the sport, like if I'm buying SprintCarUnlimited,
yes.
.com's, is it $30 a month?
No, it's $35 a year. It's cheap.
Oh, well, I'll buy that tonight. Then.
I appreciate it.
You might want to advertise that.
Oh, I have.
But,
I have advertised that. If you wait till Good Friday, I'm probably going to have a Good Friday discount. So there you go. It's even going to get cheaper. Oh my
gosh.
I know.
I support that. I do not support the people that are coming in to swoop in the things that we have lived out in X, Y, and Z. Like your thing with it's only however much a month. That's a lot cheaper or whatever. But my point is that the high limit thing, dude, we can grease their balls all day. However, they're not going to pay your bills, and they're going to fuck you over. And sorry to say that in the bad way, the F-bomb, but respectfully, I think that they do not care about you. So I think it's very important to keep yourself in mind, I guess.
I don't have an allegiance.
Here it is.
I don't have an allegiance.
Sorry.
I don't care either way. I'm a reporter. I make my own money. I do my own thing. I don't get paid by High Limit. I do not get paid by the Outlaws. But I think
I do respect you for that. Yeah.
Go ask the High Limit drivers how they feel about High Limit. I'll leave you with that. I got to get back to the chat. Got to get back to other calls.
Yes, sir. And hey, I met you at Eldora with Rico Abreu. Took a picture. I can send it to you. But Rico was not a fan of me personally, and you were like neutral. But he also didn't seem to be a fan of you. So that's a good and bad thing. But
I don't have a problem with Rico. So all right.
I'm sure you don't have a problem with him. But hey, thank you for having
Jake.
me.
I appreciate it.
I do appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. What else do we got? Let's get back to, we have Neil on line 3. Neil, how are you?
I'm well. First time caller, long time listener.
How you doing, Neil?
I'm good. Good. I just have a lot of questions regarding this whole high limit thing, being that I have an accounting background, and I'm trying to look at some numbers, and I'm looking at what high limit's value is of possibly being $200 million in revenue next year. And they're looking to pay out close to $18 million over the next 4. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't seem like the dollars and cents are making a lot of fiscal responsibility. And what I wonder is, you talk about a guy like Carson Macedo who needs to make a big jump if he was to do something like this, and it's a 3-year plan. At the end of the 3 years, if everything happens, yes, the money will be there, but is all of that potential money guaranteed?
The franchise numbers are guaranteed through 2029. Obviously, they have not put anything out in 2030. I do not expect them to go down So yes, the franchise number is guaranteed. That has been posted everywhere through 2029. Your other question, it's not a big commitment for Carson Macedo to leave the Outlaws, and I'll tell you why. Let's say he goes over, and I'll give you two scenarios. Let's say he goes over, wins the points. He's going to get $350,000, and he's guaranteed a franchise in 2028, regardless of what happens in 2027. Now, he still has to run high limit, but okay, let's say he has the first franchise, he has the number one spot. He's the highest guy in the 2-year cycle, 26 and 27. He's going to get $600,000 in 2028. That's fiscally responsible. And let's say high limit goes
For
up.
him, it is.
Yes, for the team it is. It's yes.
But can high limit substantiate paying that much money? That's my question. My question is,
wait. So I'll get
this
to that.
business model feasible?
Yes, I'll get to that in a minute. You said a big jump. Here's the interesting thing. If it doesn't work out, he could just go back to the Outlaws and loses nothing. It cost him nothing because the Outlaws don't have a system in place. It's year to year. So if, let's say he bombed, let's say he has the worst year of his career next year, and he's fifth in points, he's going to get $200,000, and he can say, you know what? It's not for me. I'll be back with the Outlaws in 2027, and he'll probably finish third in points there again. So it's not, that's the first mistake, that it's some big leap. It isn't. It's not from a financial standpoint. They're guaranteed franchises up through. Is it fiscally responsible? Look, that is something racing has never been at all, at any level. Now, can high limit be around for 10, 20 years? I mean, I guess it could. Are the World of Outlaws going to be around in 10, 20 years? I mean, I guess it could. I mean, anything could happen. I know, this is what I do know. I don't think Flow, a company that dabbles in many, many different sports and just bought the rights to the AHL, they wouldn't be expanding to other sports. They wouldn't be getting the influx of money from people like Westinghouse, which are way more established than you and me, if there wasn't a belief there that it was sustainable. I do not think they would have overextended themselves, considering the people at Flow and Brad, because here's the thing too, if they default, Brad Sweet's name is mud in this business. Go check out Barry, or that Braun guy. You're done. If you don't pay, you're done. He'll never, Chico will fall. And I do know there's some other investors in this thing. So yeah, I'm not worried at all, one iota, that they're going to be able to pay and meet their commitments.
No, your comment though about, isn't there a pride factor to Macedo?
What's the pride?
You be the guy that left and then came back.
Do you have a mortgage?
Oh, well, yeah, I got a mortgage.
Do you pay the bank in pride?
But that's not the fans, the people booing, and all of that.
I don't
stuff.
think the fans will care.
There is that emotional aspect to it.
I don't think the fans care. I don't. Look at some of the things we've seen over the years where people have done stuff and gotten brushes with the law, and it hasn't mattered. Do you think Aaron Reitzel?
Yeah, well,
do you think Aaron Reitzel's worried about a cheating thing with the Outlaws back in 2021 or whenever it was? It doesn't matter now. We live in a society that's very short memory. Very short. Right? And again, I have nothing against the Outlaws. I'm neutral. I like both of them. I go to both their races. I cover them equally. I'm just looking at the dollars and cents. That's it.
But all right, so now I got one final question. I'll let you answer this, and then you can move on.
Okay.
But isn't all high limits doing with throwing all this money out, running up the total purse that's being paid out with really nothing more to be gained by doing it. Because we both have had discussions about the size of the pie that is short track racing. It's not going to get any larger with high limit throwing more money. All that's going to happen is they're going to get a larger percentage of the small pie.
Yeah, I mean, I think their theory I think they believe with higher purses, building events, that they're going to get an influx of interest from like an FS1. And you can say they will or won't. I mean, I can't say. I mean, I have my doubts on how big it could be, obviously, but
well, wait, we talked about this.
Yeah.
I mean, the FS1 race got 700,000 viewers. A tape delayed cornhole tournament got 750,000 viewers.
Agreed. And that's one of my doubts about it, but that doesn't mean they don't kick money over to high limit.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep. No problem, Neil. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye. Good call. Good call. In your opinion, did the 1A commit to the Outlaws too early, considering what now you know about the Joker's Fund? I really haven't thought what it would mean to me, the Joker's Fund is built for Carson Macedo, maybe Logan Schuhart, your teams that are established and finish in the top 5 in points. To me, I really haven't thought much about teams like Jacob. I mean, I think they could benefit either way. I think Torgerson's in a position where he needs to learn to be on the road and go through all that. So I really haven't thought about it. I don't think he made the jump too early. I just think that, I mean, you make your choice, and I think he was going to go Outlaws anyway, because obviously the connection with Bobby and everything that happened. I just feel that it makes sense to me. It makes sense. There's a legacy thing there. JP on line 5. JP, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Jeremy?
It's going.
Hey, couple things about the Outlaws versus High Limit deal, since that's the hot ticket.
Yep, I figured it would be.
For one, the Outlaws obviously been around since '78, but
yes,
the Outlaws have built not just their own brand, but national sprint car racing as a whole.
Sure.
They had the first televised TV races. They had corporate sponsors. First millionaire of the for a year, like Steve Kinzer. And when I watch high limit races, they're always bagging on how they're doing this new and improved thing for the sport, and it's really taking it to higher limits. Well, is it? I mean, yes, Flo has a lot of money behind it, but at some point, it's just not going to make sense to spend that kind of money on sprint cars.
I don't think what they put in place, I don't think they're irresponsible and putting money in place that they are not getting. I question, everybody assumes that they're dipping into their pockets and they're not making it back. Everybody assumes that they're in the red, so to speak. Here's how.
No, I don't think they're in the red. But what I'm saying is, the Outlaws had national TV deals. They had live NASCAR races. They had tape delay. Outlaw races. They had the Nationals on live TV. It just doesn't get the viewership
correct
to make it worth for the broadcast companies. How is it going to make sense for a streaming company as a whole? I mean, long term, it's not. It's just not gonna. It doesn't make sense.
Well, now keep in mind, TV isn't charging anybody to watch it. Streaming services do.
that's more to my point. It's free to watch on TV
Yes.
for all the years the Outlaws and the Nationals are on TV,
Yeah.
and they still stop doing it.
Yes.
Now you have to pay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
how
yeah,
they were able to raise
now you have to pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I guess the second thing on what I wanted to say was when I'm watching a high limit race, it reminds me of going to a circus, right? You got all this corporate sponsored kind of stuff going in. I like Tony Laporta, don't get me wrong, but I think they're trying to entertain you outside of what it is. What you're there to watch sprint car racing, right? You're there to watch passes. You're there to watch wheelies. Some people are there to watch flips and crashes and engines blow up. But are we really there to watch like the wheel spin for the dash? I think that's just ridiculous myself.
I think the wheel spins way better than what the Outlaws do. Do I need to hear David?
And the dice roll is it's just like it's like if you went to the local carnival.
Well, wait a second. I want to address the wheel. Do I need to hear David Gravel tell me about his season for the 50th time? Do I need to hear Buddy Kofoid tell me for the 30th time that he's having a good season? The problem is we get stuck in our ways. I like the wheel spin because I never know what anybody's going to have. If you draw the one, you might as well turn the channel. You know who has the one.
So I understand what you're saying, but when those guys spin the wheel, they walk off because you know why? They don't care. They know they're either starting last or first. Either way, they still have to get it done.
But it's not about them. It's about the fan. Like for me.
But why wouldn't they stay and talk about, hey, how you like your starting position? They don't. They spin it and they walk off.
Well,
they're not there for the fans. It's just like a show, man.
Well,
just a show.
They answer the question, they spin the wheel and get off. We're not going to make this an hour. See, they want to get done. And look, fans, the old fans, yeah, they'll sit there for 4 or 5 hours. The new fans, they don't want to. 2 hours, 2 and 3 hours. That's it. The attention span of people is declining. It's getting shorter. And
well, sure. Yeah. You got social media and stuff now. You got everything at your fingertips.
Well,
watch what you want.
The other thing is there's so many things to do now. You don't want to be driving home at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then you got to get up the next day to go to little junior soccer match.
Well, yeah, but that's the same for even a local racetrack.
Correct.
Local racetracks can run till
Correct.
11 o'clock midnight. I mean, it's some things, especially when they got like 19 support divisions, right?
But I like the dice roll because they're giving fans money. What?
Yeah, I think it's kind of scripted. I bought my tickets one time to go to a race when they first hit. I lived 2,600 miles away. Like I flew there to go to this race.
Okay.
Big weekend, and I didn't get the dice roll. How's that possible? You know who won it? A guy that lives 40 minutes away.
It's based on pre-sales. They choose a random person in pre-sales.
Sure. Think about it though. It's always a person that's fairly local, for the most part, or somebody that's been there before.
I haven't tried.
I think that kind of thing is just rigged. I just don't. We don't. You're talking about getting a show on the road, but they're doing the wheel spin. They're doing dice roll,
and they still get done quicker than anyone else. And they still get done faster than anyone else. No, they do. They do because they don't have support divisions.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't say yay or nay on that, but I think it's fairly comparable.
Sure, I think the Outlaws.
But you're right. The racing.
Job. I think the
from your last thing that you're saying with the last guy, you're right. The people don't care so much about all that other stuff per se. They want to go and see a good show, and they want to get home early because they got to work. They got to get up and go to church on Sunday. They got to get up and mow the lawn, whatever. They got stuff to do, right?
Yeah. That's across the board in the sport. That's across.
So then, yes. So then the other thing, since I have you on the line, all this money that's getting dumped in the sprint car racing across the board, not just Outlaws and not just high limit,
right,
makes it more expensive for a guy like me that runs regional to go racing, because when these guys are looking at $600,000-$700,000 payouts at the end of the year, how much money do you think they're spending on motors, rear ends, boxes, front ends, everything, shocks?
Yeah, I think the fan, unfortunately, I do think that, and it's happening in Central PA. I think the fans, unfortunately, are going to have to pay higher ticket prices. Yes, that's going to happen.
And that's where I was getting at. At some point, it's going to start affecting the fans.
It already has.
Yeah, and then what'll happen is that people will stop going to races. They might go to their very local track, 1 or 2 tracks within an hour or two, and they'll just stream the rest of the year.
Exactly. It's already happening.
Well, I think it's going to get worse, to be honest.
It could.
I think it'll get worse.
What's going to happen is, and then I got to get back to the chat and other calls. What's going to happen is, and
Sure.
I appreciate your call, JP.
Sure.
What's going to happen is people are going to stop going to weekly shows because
I've seen your take on that.
Yeah. They're going to stop going to weekly shows, and people are going to move money around, and they're going to go to the big shows. We're going to be tennis and golf.
So what they're essentially doing, real quick, is they're NASCARing our sprint cars.
No.
That's what
this
they're
idea
doing.
that NASCAR has nothing to do with it. This has to do.
I didn't say NASCAR themselves. I'm saying they are trying to NASCAR our sprint cars.
If it was NASCAR, there'd be one series and that's it. No, there's not. The charters aren't the same. The franchises aren't the same. There's nothing the same with what goes on at NASCAR and here. The difference is we're mom and pop. And at the end of the day, when the cost of the racetrack goes up, whether it's Lincoln Speedway, Williams Grove, out in California, or anywhere else, regardless if it's High Limit or the World of Outlaws, it's mom and pop. And when their costs go up, they're going to pass the cost on to the fans. That's how it works in every form of business and capitalism. It doesn't matter. They're going to pass it along. It's not a NASCAR thing. It's not the NASCARization. I've covered NASCAR. It's not the same as what's going on in sprint car racing. It's just not.
I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to be NASCAR. I'm saying NASCAR is expensive to go to. NASCAR is one of the things that most people go to one race a year because it's that expensive.
Well,
that's what they're going to do to sprint cars.
It wasn't the cost of the tickets in NASCAR is not what did it. It's the hotels where they had 3-4 day minimums and they jacked up the cost. That's where NASCAR made a mistake.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying.
But I don't feel a sprint car racing is big enough to where hotels. I go to, obviously I stay in hotels or I stay in a Airbnb. They don't jack up the cost on them near what NASCAR is. I just don't think it's big enough to do that. But either way, the cost is going to get passed along to you when, food goes up or their cost for fuel goes up to run the push trucks or whatever it is. Insurance is another one. That's the stuff that's going to get passed. So you're right. You're definitely right about the costs. They are going up, and sprint car racing better address it at some point. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, I just think that if we don't support our local tracks, we're going to lose our local tracks.
Agreed.
We're going to lose our local fan base.
Agreed.
And then we're going to lose and be stuck to regional racing. That's my thing.
No,
that's what I'm thinking.
I agree 100%.
All right. I'll let you go, Jeremy.
All right, JP. Thanks for the call. I appreciate
it. Next week, buddy.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Jim from Buffalo, live from the retirement community on line 6. Jim, I had to do.
Well, hello, Mr. High Limit cheerleader. You're making a lot of friends today, aren't you?
You know what? I was going to do a wellness check on you last week when Buffalo got tattooed, and then your Rochester Americans came down to Hershey and got beat. I thought there was.
You mean my first place Rochester Americans?
Other division. They play in the soft division.
They
play in the Mr. Soft.
Oh yeah.
Division.
Okay. Yeah. I got
the best team in the
league, by the way, Flo got the American Hockey League last year. This year they picked up the Junior A stuff from Canada.
Well, all I know is Wilkes-Barre is the top team in the league, and they play in the division you're not in.
Yeah, we'll see. We haven't played them yet, but I'm also a new fan, and like on Saturday, I'm taking my junior to a hockey game, not a soccer game.
There you go. I like it. So what do you got for me? What do you got for me, Jim?
I'm all over the place, because I've been taking notes on some of the things callers said. I don't want to be on the phone for too long, but if the 41 wants to go to high limit, let him go.
Sure.
He's never going to get better than third place in the Outlaws. And I think they know it. Yeah, he's going to win his fair share of races, but Buddy and David are better. That's all it is.
Right now they are.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
The big winner in this high limit outlaw thing is actually USAC, because they're finally starting to pay some money for their purses because their drivers were leaving. I mean, they had a plethora of 10,000 to win races this year finally, and that's what the minimum they should be paying.
Yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised with some of the increase, of payouts for USAC. And I think it's needed. I think it's long overdue. I think they got to keep their drivers, obviously. A lot of them, or I should say, some of their hitters have gone over to the 410 sprint car ranks, and some of their younger guys, Emerson Axum, Persley, then you have Chris Wyndham. They all have gone to the winged ranks, and I think USAC needed to do something, and I'm pleasantly surprised and encouraged that they're doing that.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. I always have loved USAC. But now, as far as the drivers list here, I think Gravel is number one, and Buddy is number 1A. They're just two fantastic talents. I mean, Rico's probably 3 right now. But, I just love them. And also, too, I have no problem hearing fans boo David at the pill draw. And I have no problem hearing Buddy thanking the Roths for their outstanding ride every time he gets up there. I think it's great.
Yeah, I have no problem with them. I just don't think it's so bad that they do something else. I like variety. I have no problem with the dash draw. Anything I've said isn't a slam on the Outlaws. I cover the Outlaws. I think they have a great product. And I've said many times this year that David, Gravel, and Big Game are the best team in the country. Buddy's number 2 with Roth. And I also think Macedo and Rico have flip-flopped that third division or that third spot many times. So this isn't
I agree.
This isn't an indictment on what the Outlaws do. I think they run a good program. I think they get they get it done in a except for Williams Grove with the goofy time trial split thing. It just takes too long, but that's not the Outlaws' fault. They run their programs well, as they do a good job with their programs. I just don't think it's wrong that somebody does something different. And it seems like people don't like something. In racing, it's very, very strict. Got to do the same thing all the time. God forbid we get out of the comfort zone a little bit. I mean, come on. Who cares? I mean, it's just, that's
Jerry. Relax. I'm just busting your balls.
Oh, no,
okay?
no. It's fine.
Take a breath.
I just think it's funny.
But if you like something new and shiny, then why are you still a Cowboys fan? I mean, geez.
Look, hey, they won last night. Let me enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I mean, my God, they're playing the Raiders, for God's sakes. But anyways, 2 quick questions. When's the Outlaw schedule come out? Do you see any surprises on it? And besides the 1A, what are we looking at for rookie class?
I think you could have another large rookie class for the Outlaws. I think you could see maybe a Scotty Thiel. I think you could see it's still up in the air what Emerson Axum's doing. I think he'll be on a national tour next year. I think you could see maybe Danny Sams flip over to the Outlaws. I think that's a possibility. I've heard of some other drivers, Landon Crawley possibly coming back. It wouldn't be a rookie year, but a return. So I do think they're going to have some new guys on tour. As far as the schedule, I expect it out in a week or two, something like that. And I think they'll have a California swing, albeit short. I wouldn't be surprised if Calistoga's on that list again. And yeah, I think the Outlaws, they're start releasing stuff real soon.
Yeah, and one other quick thing. What happened with Tim Schafer in the 17 GP? I thought he had a great year last year. Won some races, was up in the points in the All-Stars. I mean, Tim can still wheel it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. And, Tim's jumped around a little bit in his career, and especially now. And, Hank Davis, you want to talk about a guy who moves around a lot. He seems like he's in 2-3 cars a year. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I really don't. I haven't had a chance to make any calls on it yet. And it's something I'll be looking into in the next week or so.
Well, I'm excited to see what Hank Davis can do. I think he's a pretty good shoe. I mean, time will tell, just like anything. But I got to get off of here. I don't want to set a record tonight. I mean, that record will probably never be broken.
I'm just happy you're okay. I'm just happy you're okay. I figured we'd hear from you this week because the Bills won.
No, last week I was putting in a new faucet and a new water line in my son's new house to his refrigerator.
Okay, well,
got to do stuff sometimes,
Okay, all right.
But
I'm glad you're good.
But anyways, all right. And some guy asked how the Bills injury report looks for Thursday night. Everybody pretty much looks pretty healthy. We got out of the game last week with not too many injuries, but we'll see. It's the NFL. You after that phantom call I saw on Detroit the other night, I don't know what to expect from week to week. That was the worst call I've ever seen in my life.
Isn't it funny?
But anyways,
that
all right.
We hear every week that
have a great night.
Yep,
go Bills.
Thanks. Go Bills. Go Bears. All right, Jim. Thank you very much. Glad you're okay. That's all. So, all right, let's get back to it. Larry on line 7. Larry, how are you?
Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Hey, the one thing I wanted to talk about briefly, there's been a lot of talk tonight about the Outlaws being the premier series, et cetera. And I think I might be just a little bit older than you, but, a lot of people forget, 89 or 2005, when you had USA, Sammy, Steve, Mark, they all left. The best sprint car drivers in the country weren't with the World Outlaws. You had Wolfie in 84, 85 off doing his own thing. 2005 NST, again, Steve left. Dude was gone. And it's terrible, but the best thing that happened to the World Outlaws, unfortunately, was Fred Brownfield got killed because, they were getting a lot of traction with his promotion abilities. I think they were really at that time, and if you remember what was going on with the Outlaws at that time, they were probably a threat to the World Outlaws. Maybe even more so than High Limit was when they first started up. I think a lot of people just need to understand. And the best thing the World Outlaws have done is they've sold a great product in that they've got everybody believing they're the best. And I think people that watch racing, be it in Pennsylvania or I'm calling from Iowa, we've seen guys come through. Most of our regulars all went to the World Outlaws, Wolfie and Danny and a lot of those guys. Same thing happens in Pennsylvania. So their branding is exceptional. I'll give them that. But, I think people need to look back on their history a little bit. A lot of people don't realize, for a long time, the Nationals was unsanctioned. In fact, in the 70s, for a brief time in the 70s, it was an all-star date.
Yeah.
The Knoxville Nationals was an all-star race. So, just because you put a label on it doesn't make it the best. And to your point about the money, for guys that have to pay the bills, there's a lot of money on the table, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to not go after that. The only knock I have on the High Limit deal right now is that tow from Skagit to Port Royal. That's brutal. But the fact that you can drop off and race for all that money around the Nationals and not have any penalties or anything. Last year, Rico left Knoxville at the beginning of the year. He was the point leader.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing that was surprising to me. I was surprised that nobody complained about that tow from Skagit to Port Royal. The last couple years, I kind of talked to guys at Port Royal. They said they didn't like it, but they didn't complain about it. And I think it's because they raced for $100,000 at Chico, then they came back and raced for $100,000 at Skagit, and then they were going to run for 50-some thousand at Port. I think if you're racing for a lot of money, it makes those other things easier to swallow.
Sure. And it's a manageable drive. I mean, it's not like, 3 days.
I don't want to do it.
They have the time to get there. I mean, it's just a rough drive. I mean, but back in the day, I can remember they used to leave Knoxville after the Nationals, and they had that one race in like Montana, and they would be lucky to pull 20 cars. They'd tell guys they'll tear your stuff up, and then they'd go on to California from there. And that was considered brutal back then. Of course, they weren't using, they didn't have the haulers and everything they had now, and all the equipment they were hauling with them. So they had to be very careful going out west. It's not as rough for them anymore with all the spares they can carry and everything else.
Sure. Oh yeah, back in the day, I hate saying that because shows how old I am, but yeah, it was a lot rougher traveling years ago. I know I've talked to Colton Gauss, who used to be a tire guy for KKR. They were driving a lot farther. They were definitely driving longer distances overnight. And, it is easier now. I'm not trying to diminish it. Look, everybody has their set of problems and circumstance, but you were driving in a, just a pickup and hauling the trailer. It wasn't like now. It's different. It really is different.
Well, I mean, in the 80s, Carl Kinzer still had a 4-door dually with a Cat engine in it.
Yep. A lot of guys had dually. I mean, it was,
Yeah, I mean, they were just pulling, chaparral trailers and that sort of thing.
Yep. But Larry, I agree. And, again, I don't have an allegiance to any of them. I just know what I see. And I think they both have good products. I think they both have good point fund packages. I think they both have good payouts. And I think there's room for both series.
Well, I agree. One question I had for you. Do you think there's any chance that Knoxville will give High Limit a date? I know the first year they tried to get the All-Star date that was going to disappear, and there was some problem there. And Knoxville's always been loyal to the Outlaws. It happened with NST and USA for that matter. Do you think they'll ever give them a date?
I don't think under the current arrangement that High Limit will get a date at Knoxville. I think that would be one of the hardest places to get one. Yeah. I just don't see it happening.
I mean, we're there weekly. I mean, I almost wish they'd go back to having nationals be non-sanctioned again. I mean, the Outlaws have really nothing to do with the race.
Same with the Kings Royal.
I think for everybody to just
they get show up points. It's on the schedule, but I don't think it doesn't matter that it's sanctioned. It just doesn't. I mean, we can talk about, it just doesn't. But Larry, I got to get back to the chat. Got to get back to some other calls, Larry. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you. Scott on line 8. Scott, what do you got?
Hey, what's going on, Jeremy?
Just talking some racing.
Yeah, you ain't making many friends tonight with them World Outlaw people.
I'm not trying. Look, I didn't say the whole roster should flip. It's not what I said.
No, I understand. It's just like they're stuck on their jockstrap or something. I don't know.
That's fine. It's okay. I'll answer whatever. What do you got for me? Got to get back to the chat in a short order here.
Yeah, one thing I haven't heard you say about the whole deal with the High Limit money and all that, with your comparison against the Outlaws, that you have to take into consideration there's probably 20 less races yet.
There is, and I agree, but the High Limit guys can go run those extra races if they choose to.
No, I don't mean it that way. It's more.
Oh, you mean
it's better off for the high
expense?
limit guys.
Yeah, look, yeah, you're right. I don't, you know what? I don't put a ton of stock into that because if you look at how many shows, the rainouts have really affected the World of Outlaws this year. I just think it kind of evens out enough that it's there, but I don't think it's a huge deal.
No, but even so, 20 races, 20 races.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
This is the finest time in sprint car racing ever to be a driver owner.
Yes.
You pay yourself. You don't have to worry about paying somebody else. You just have to get your sponsorships in line and everything else goes in your pocket.
I think now, well, look, what's happened is, and all the outlaw teams and the people who are on the outlaw side of this need to just send Brad Sweet a thank you letter, because if the high limit wouldn't be around, the purses wouldn't be getting bigger and the point fund would not be getting bigger on the outlaw side. Nobody can convince me it would be. It would be. There's no reason to. This is competition.
No.
Competition breeds this. So yes, as an owner, regardless of what series you run, it's better off than it used to be.
Yeah, I totally feel that the Hanover Sharks, they should be heading to high limit because they are that combination, except for Jake now, and I just feel that that's not going to make it through the year anyhow. Just my thoughts,
I think just
because.
I think they will.
But, be perfect for Logan's deal. I mean,
I'm not going to disagree.
I think Jake needs to have Logan there.
I don't think Jacob. I think Jacob's his own man. I think Jacob this year. I think you've seen Jacob really evolve in this racing deal, and I think Jacob, he ran his team. I watched him at the track. He was in total control of what happened on that car. I thought when they were in central Pennsylvania, I thought they did a good job. I didn't think that they were out of their depth or they needed anybody. I don't believe that. I think Jacob knows what to do. I think Jacob obviously learned from his father. I liked what I saw this year. I liked Torgerson in that car. I thought he took big steps this year. And regardless of what series they, decided on, I think it was a good move. We get, Torgerson's learning curve is going to increase, and we'll see what Jacob and the 1A can do, and Torgerson. So I like the move. I don't necessarily. Yes, I said this morning that Logan Schuchart probably could go over to high limit and probably earn a little bit more money, but I understand why he's staying. There's a legacy element to theirs that runs deeper than other people, and so I get it.
Yeah. Now here's my last question. I won't keep you too long.
Go ahead.
Have you had any talks with any of the high limit drivers and or owners where, some of them have contracts, not many of them, but being that this max amount more money coming the owner's way with these charters or whatever they call them, do you think they're going to cut the drivers a little bit shorter?
I think
percentage-wise?
I've heard different things, and nobody's going to tell me exactly what their percent. I think what's happening is you might see a driver get a higher percentage of the winnings and the owner take the franchise money. I think you're going to see a 50-50 split in some cases. I think everybody's going to negotiate their own deal with their own owner. I think it's going to be done different ways. I think it's going to be very team-centric. Whatever that team decides to do, whatever their deal is or their contract is, I think that's going to be – I don't think it's going to be across the board the same way. Look, there's more money on the table, and I've heard different ways of it being split.
Yeah. Okay, Sarah.
All right, Scott.
Okay, have a good one now.
Yep.
Listen to you tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Appreciate it. All right, let's get back to the chat. I'm sure we got a lot of stuff. Okay, Pete on line 9, then we're going to get back to the chat. Pete, what do you got?
Hey, I won't keep you long.
That's okay.
Real quick, right off the bat, High Limit must be doing something right for how riled up everybody is.
I never thought of it that way.
Hey, if nobody was talking about them, then we'd call them irrelevant, and it'd be like what everybody says they are. But, they got everybody wound up, don't they?
I do think there's definitely more buzz. And again, look, I'm going to say this just for everybody in the chat and who's listening. There is a downside to this Joker's Fund. The downside is that if the top non-franchise team, if they finish 2nd through 4th, they get more money than 4th, who already has a franchise. They get $300,000. So that is the only downside to it, in my opinion. Now, here's the caveat to that. It's only one team. Only one team can earn $300,000 or $350,000. I have talked to a couple teams, and they have said to me, the 350 doesn't bother them because they're winning the points. The 300 does a little bit because I think from 4th on back, who have supported them for 2 years, that team has the opportunity to earn more. That's the only downside that has come out of it. But, High Limit had to do it. I mean, you have to entice teams to come in. They have 5 franchise. I get both sides of that. I understand why Brad and the management of High Limit did that. If you're going to get a big team or another big team, you had to put a carrot out there. I don't even know if it's going to work. I don't know who's coming over and who isn't. But that's the only, if you're going to find any downside, that would be it. But again, it's only one team.
I just think it's interesting how wound up everybody is over something that they've said for 2 years is irrelevant and is going to be gone in 5 years.
Well,
And it's like, wow, y'all all seem a little threatened by this all of a sudden.
It's new. It's new. People don't like new things.
Yeah, hey. I get it. And then just on a side note, the Pursley Larson thing, I think that was just a bad situation.
Yeah.
I don't think Pursley would do that on purpose. I mean, they all will say that they're not going to, but some of them will. I don't think there was any intent there. I think he kind of hooked the berm, plus he kind of got hung out in the slick. And, I don't think you want anyone to get hit like that, but anybody other than Larson would have been a different story in basically his hometown. But, I don't think they want to race each other that way. And I think he put it well when he said, I'll go down there and take my ass chewing and we'll talk about it and move on.
Yep, I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Yep. All righty, man. Have a good night. Sounds like you're gonna have a long night.
That's all right. No problem. I have no problem.
See you later.
All right, thanks, Pete. All right, let's clear out the chat. I said Lauda wants Will to call. Everybody loves Will. All right. What was the last race you were able to attend strictly as a fan? Oh boy. When I was in Vegas, I shouldn't say a fan. I just needed something to do. Brent Smith got me to go to the Xfinity race out in Vegas when we were there at the beginning of the year for the High Limit shows. That's the last race. And before that, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I couldn't even begin to tell you. How much do they charge for parking at local events, and does the charge and that charge for a turn race? In Pennsylvania, none. You don't get charged for parking. You can purchase a reserved parking spot for the year, but in Central PA, you don't get charged for parking. I think they'd riot. Hey, Jeremy, Brent Marks said that he has all new crew members. Do you have any details about that? Yeah. He let go of 2 of the 3 crew members, I believe, after Texas, I believe, or after, might have been after BAPS in October. And then they stayed with him. It would be Heath Moyle, and I believe Jarrett stayed with him through World Finals. Heath has since left and hooked up with another team. And Brent Marks had a new crew at BAPS last week. Yes. And I don't think it was a performance base. I really didn't ask what the reasoning was. I just think they just want to make some changes. Recently heard some rumblings that Zierfoss is not returning to the Eichelberger 8 next season. Have you heard anything? I actually got off the phone with Brock Zierfoss tonight. He will be running his own stuff next year. It was a tough decision for him to make. He really likes Rich Eichelberger. He just needed to run more races, and he's going to do that in his own stuff. The plan is to run like an Anthony Macri type schedule, and if he gets another sponsor, he might do a series. I'll have more on it. I'm going to be talking about that a little on tomorrow's 90 at 9. What would you consider the low points of the 2025 season? Holy crap. That's a lot of races. The low points? The low points. Wow. I've never been asked what the low points. Usually it's the high points. Figures. Jump the cushion. They always do this to me. Do it on purpose. Low points. Well, you can't say the Gravel Larson thing because it drew a lot of attention and got a lot of eyes. So therefore, I think all the injuries at Eldora, and I'm not going to blame the track because there's more to it than just, and Reitzel told me that it wasn't the bump that made him get upside down. So, but yes, drivers at Eldora getting hurt just because it affected the points and it affected the season. And I think that's never good. So I would say that. Why is the Eichelberger 8 schedule so limited? They don't travel a ton. Rich didn't have a crew chief. Brock brought the crew chief. That's a good question. I just think finances, I think it's just what they do. He runs for points. So I just don't think traveling's just not something he does. Rich Eichelberger is an old super sportsman driver. He was a good one too. Real good one. And I don't know. I just don't think, I think their budget's limited. I was able to watch Tyler Thompson on Saturday. By the way, we'll have a story on him in SprintCarUnlimited.com late tonight, tomorrow. I was impressed with his car control and had a solid finish. Any chance to see him east next year? Your thoughts? California and the West Coast, I know he's from Oregon. They just keep rolling these guys out. He's a senior citizen. He's 23 out there. I think he has a good job and a good gig where he lives. So I don't think you're going to see him on a traveling tour, but I think you could see him come. He enjoyed it. He wants to race out here a little bit. I just think he needs to be selective with his commitments off the track. But no, I was impressed with him as well. How do you rate 23 Stamen Motorsports first year together, and how you think year two will go? A. Give him an A. I don't know how you can't. They had consistency. They had wins. They had a couple, bigger wins at the end of the year. Beat the Outlaws. There's no reason to think they take a step back. I know they want to travel a little bit more next year, kind of get their feet wet at some other places. So, Yeah, no, I give them an A. It was really, really good. Will Brad and Rudine have a charter system for NARC? I doubt it seriously. I don't think you could do it. You'd have 2 people get them. Nobody runs them all. So, no, I don't see a charter system. I think that's going to be a high limit thing, and that's it. What is the holdup with Sheldon's announcement? I just think they got some contract stuff to work out. It's nothing where, I mean, I don't think it's not going to change the deal or anything. I think it's just some stuff that, dot some I's and cross some T's and get everything worked out. Why would any big name driver risk injury racing midgets? I wonder that all the time. I told Carson Macedo last year, don't run a midget. But they do it. I mean, racers race. I don't know how I'd feel about it if I was Roth, or if I was Casey, or if I was, Philip Dietz at JJR, especially after watching Corey Day's tumble. But racers race. So when can we expect Central PA scheduled for next year? Good luck. Seems like that's going to be all over the place. I do know that they have some things in the works for a possible series in the area. So you could see a little bit of a hold up on that. I expect stuff to be kind of rolling out in December and January. Why are people rooting for a series to, I guess, fall is beyond me. I don't understand it. I think, again, I've said both series have a good product. Both series, I like covering both of them. And I think there's room for 2. I think actually at this point, there's probably a necessity for 2. Where is Heath Moyle going? Look for him to be with Cy Lynch. I think that's where he's going. Have you heard any rumblings of a co-sanctioned all-star race in 2026? I have not. I've not heard anything yet. Co-sanctioned with who? I haven't heard anything like that. The high limit schedule's out, so I don't see anything happening there, and I doubt that they would do anything with the Outlaws. What do you think about more infield parking for more tracks like BAPS has been doing? Been a great addition, in my opinion. They sold out last week of that. Look, if you can increase the fan experience, I think it's a win. If you're going to get more people there, it's always a win. So I like it. I know Colton, it took a while to grow the grass in there. And that was one of the things he's been working on. So it worked out last week, and I hope it continues, and I hope other tracks do the same. If you didn't cover sprint car racing for a living, which other sport would you cover, and would you be a sprint car fan and travel to races? When I worked at the newspaper, I covered high school and college wrestling. I covered the NFL for 5 years. I covered high school sports. So I'd probably be doing that. And I mean, high school wrestling, and Pennsylvania has high-end high school wrestling. So it was probably one of my favorite beats to do. I like covering the NFL, obviously, but I really, really liked covering high school wrestling. It's so I'd be doing that, or maybe I'd be writing about things outside of sports. I don't know. I can't answer that. As far as how many races would I go to, it would be tough if I was covering other stuff, because a lot of things happen on Friday, Saturday, or you're traveling or whatever. So that would be difficult. I'd probably go to 20 maybe. I'm a big event guy. Like King's Royal's my favorite race, so I would always go to the King's Royal. I'd probably go Knoxville. I'd go to some bigger shows. It's so hard on a Friday during, say, football season. You're covering high school football. So it just gets difficult. Is there anything to the Justin Woodall, Bill Rose rumors? I know they talked. I don't think anything's going to materialize from it. Hear anything about Big Diamond getting a 410 show? Yes, I've heard a couple things about that. Yeah, I mean, it's again, we're all waiting for schedules in Central PA. I think we're also waiting on news on this series. So we'll see what happens. I think everything's on the table, though. Was the 19 a bad breakup or just time for a change? Look, you never want to get fired. I mean, I don't think nothing happened. Like, it wasn't anything nefarious that happened, or anything like that. I think it was just a different direction. Is Jacob Allen going to be traveling with the team next year? I would assume so. I think he's probably the crew chief on that thing. I would assume, absolutely. No, I would not be writing poetry. High Limit Grandview, May 2026. Looked at tickets, $20 for kids, 6 to 12 on a school night. Beating a dead horse at this point, I guess, but incredibly short-sighted. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know who sets the ticket price for that. Is it the track or is it the series? That's a joint venture show, if I'm not mistaken, where they share it. So I would assume they get together on that. I mean, I will tell you, those shows do really well at Grandview. So while we can complain about that, that's one of their better, that show does really, really well. And the one year they didn't have Larson and it did well. Okay. Could you see Macri going after a charter? Kyle's still fastest 410 guy in the world. I don't count Kyle because he doesn't run enough. Okay. I'm not going down that road. And honestly, I think Gravel's every bit as fast as he is. I made a statement this morning on the 90 at 9 net. And I hate retracting it. Or my previous statements on Ryan Timms or a Macri, I kind of put them in the same boat. I think they're two of the best independents. To me, they both should take a look at the paperwork. At the very least, I'm not saying they should jump, but think about it this way. If you go to High Limit, I think Ryan Timms and Anthony Macri can finish in the top 8 both years. You get a franchise. If it's not for you, you can sell it. It's still a business transaction. It's still business. And I know it's a big commitment. I think it's probably a bigger commitment for Macri because he's on the East Coast, but they have 8 shows at Port Royal. That's a big deal. And I think with the schedule not being at, it's not 90 races, it's kind of in that 60 to 66 range, depending on the TBAs. It'll probably end up being 55 with rainouts. I just think you suck it up and do it for 2 years. Who knows what happens? Macri's fast. And again, you get 8 races at Port Royal. It's money. And again, if you don't like it after 2 years, you can sell your franchise. So I think it's worth taking a look at for Anthony Macri and Ryan Timms at this point. Not saying they should jump, because before I said Ryan Timms should stay the course, but man, you got to take a look at that paperwork now, just for future reference. Good question. Have you heard anything about the pay package for the Outlaws? I heard a total amount. It's a decent amount, and we'll see if that's what happens. I don't want to just throw it out there because, again, it could change. But it was a decent amount. Is Lance driving the 12 next year? As of now, that's what I think he's doing. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of off season, so we'll see. But I would assume. Let's see how sustainable the whole high limit scheme really is. Are we guilty of trying to jump the conclusions too early? I think we're jumping to conclusions by saying it won't work. I don't think. Look, I heard this wasn't going to make it 2 years. I was told that by some people that this would never get to the franchise part of it. Now they put it out. They put it out at the beginning of the year. Now it's a reality. You know, you have the top 10 guys, and now you have a point fund for the non-franchise guys. I think they've met every requirement that they said they were going to meet. So, I mean, if they've met every requirement or they've done everything they said they were going to do, I don't know, you know, I don't think it's jumping the gun at this point. And the other thing is, let's say something weird happens, and for whatever reason, it goes away. But you could just go back to the Outlaws. The Outlaws aren't going to say, no, you can't come back. So I don't understand really what the angst is at this point. But I think they're both going to be around for a while. Does your opinion of JJR joining High Limit based on the fact that JJR could win a national title quicker rather than being a third place car because of Gravel and Kofoid battling for the next few years to come? Yeah. It's based on what I've seen so far. 2 years ago, Carson Macedo was 80 points behind David Gravel. Now, David had an incredible year this year. The numbers are alarming. Again, why he's the best team and driver in the country. I think Kofoid just keeps chipping away. And Carson was 200 some back this year. So I think Carson Macedo and JJR are a top 5 team in the sport. But again, I look at dollars and cents. To me, it doesn't mean they're, pussing out. It doesn't mean they're running. It comes down to dollars and cents. What makes sense for your team? It comes down to business. Carson Macedo and JJR will get plenty of chances to run against the 2 car in the 83. There's the High Bank Nationals. There's Knoxville Nationals. There's the Kings Royal. He has 2 crown jewels at Williams Grove. He's obviously a great driver, and they're a great team. It's not running. It's making a business decision. So, yeah, I do think he could go over to High Limit and contend for the title right away. Is Ayrton Genitin possibly making, I assume, jump to High Limit? I talked to him at Texas. He needs another sponsor yet, but I think it's something that interests him. I think it's something that interests him. Any word on Kerry Madsen? Last I checked with Tony Vermeer, they were right in the middle. They were going to consider both options. Have not heard anything since. Why wasn't Caleb Johnson at BAPS? They picked up a motor, and I think they just headed home. I think that something was going on or something they had to do at home. But they picked up, from what I gather, they picked up a motor and then went home. Why did JMR sell his High Limit franchise? Well, Corey Day's their main driver. He can't run the whole series. it's cumbersome to do a fill-in deal for the rest of the shows, so they sold it. Simple as that. Corey Dake hopes to get 20 shows in. Talked to him at World Finals. He thinks if he can get 20 to 25 in, that'll be really good. And you got to fill 40 other shows. That was difficult for them to do this year. You start playing the whole regional game, is this driver going to be able to run in this region? It's just, so they just sold it. Plus they had a buyer and it was good money. I hear it was good money. Jeremy, what's Lethal Lee up to these days? Pops in and out with different teams. He helped Darren Pittman a little, or I believe on the Lundster car. I saw him doing that this year. He kind of pops in and out. There's a huge opportunity here for the All-Stars. If they can put together a schedule and payout that makes sense for weekly racers, they could make some hay. I agree. I think the All-Stars had a great year last year. I thought it was good. I thought the racing was good. I thought, they didn't run too many races. Now, I saw something with their schedule being 36. I don't want them to get back up to 50. That's not what it should be. So, but I liked what the All-Stars did last year. And I hope they do something, something similar this year, in 2026, I should say. Who is WRG? Is that the group of private investors? No, it's a World Racing Group. That's who owns the World of Outlaws. It's Carter, and I believe there was, I think there's a couple people in New York who have their fingers in it as well. Lee was helping Bree Hershey Saturday at BAPS. There you go. I mean, he jumps around a little bit. Jumps around. The irony with all the Outlaws fans hating on High Limit is that Brian Carter is one of the way big reasons High Limit exists as a national series. That is true. That is 100% true. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Brian Carter should be in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. He saved the Outlaws back in 2005, 2006. And, from Boundless, the whole Boundless debacle, Brian Carter's done a lot for, sprint car racing. But yes, there's also some responsibility for High Limit being a national series. Does the High Limit Jokers Fund include show up and tow money also? Yes, it does. Those numbers all, whether it's the franchise or it all includes tow money. What was going through Hendrick Motorsports' mind when Corey went flipping through the air? That's the first thing I thought of too. Probably wasn't good. Yeah, it was a hard one. Any word on shots yet? No, not yet. All right. Who will Dave drive for in his off weekends? He's going to Jason Myers, JMR. They're going to run some shows. Jeremy, you should plan to come to 3-day Hockett and Lucas Oil Speedway. The facility is awesome. Racing has been great. I've often wanted to go. I hear how really just a pristine facility that is. It's just the timing it's right in the middle of September. We have some big races here. So that's, it's just that makes it difficult. Mid-September, man. Whew. But we'll see. Anything's possible. Will Sheldon be better in the 18? Baston looks good in the 17, except last week. Baston didn't look bad last week. The feature he pulled into the pits. So, as far as Sheldon, I don't know. He's going to have Morrison engines, which that's good. Obviously, the 18 is going to have to improve for Sheldon to move up in the standings. Sheldon and Ripper already have a rapport. Look, it's a little bit different situation, and as I've said many times, I think the situation matters, and not that it was a bad situation at the 17, but I mean anything's possible. I don't think it's out of the question either way. It may sound like a cop-out, but still. Watching live from my first NHL hockey game in my life, Blackhawks versus Flames this year. This is your fault, Jeremy. Go Blackhawks. Blackhawks actually look good, decent this year. It's about time that you open your horizons, Chaz. Hockey's great. And by the way, their in-person product might be the best in sports. Thoughts on the Book 13 with Holmes so far? It's been a rough start. Very rough start. We'll see how it develops. Have you ever considered live streaming a Sprint Car Unlimited race for free on YouTube? How many viewers would it take to make sense? Here's the problem. We directly revenue share with the racetrack. So we're partners with them. And obviously, the track would have some say in that. And that's revenue for them. So our goal is always to be an alternative. We do not want to be the first choice for fans. We want fans to come to the stands, but the ones who can't, we want to be that alternative so the track still gets money. That's our whole goal. We're not getting rich off it. We're not Flow. We're not Dirt Vision. So it's kind of hard to do that when you directly revenue share with the track. We'd have to get an advertiser to pay the freight. All right, what else do we got? A few weeks ago, Justin Fiedler mentioned that Rico is buying a portion of Speedway Motors. Have you heard anything regarding this? Thanks. Yes. Yes, I have. We talked about it a little bit on the deep dive with Andy Graves, the Toyota Director of Engineering and Technical and Competition. By the way, if you want to check out a really good deep dive, Andy Graves last week, it was really, really good. I learned a lot about where he's been and what he's done and the future of the Toyota motor, the 410 motor. We talked a lot about how the midget program and how they choose people, how NASCAR chooses people. And it was just really good. But yeah, Rico's going to be busy. Does Flow and Dirt Vision also share revenue with tracks? They do pay the tracks a flat amount. In some cases, there's also deducts based on, rainouts. So, you got to get so many races in. But yes, they do give a flat amount for the season. Ours is based on viewership, straight viewership pay-per-view. Jeremy, there's no PA announcer here at this Chicago Blackhawks game. Is this normal or no? That's odd. I don't, what are they playing in a barn? I've not been to a Chicago Blackhawks game. So that seems odd to me. Seems odd. Should get Dave Hare to do it. It's great. When are promoters in racing going to start promoting? Every local TV station has a dedicated show to high school football. When racing is shown, it gets 2 minutes if they're lucky. Well, part of the reason is the tracks. The tracks don't exactly call in their results. I can tell you our newspaper used to wait for those results all the time. I know radio stations, if you don't call in by a certain time, you don't get those results for the 11 o'clock news, or in some cases 10. The other thing is it all goes by popularity. And I love sprint car racing, but it's not high school football. I know that's hard to swallow, but it's true. It's true. But I think it's on both the stations and the racetracks. At least that's been my experience being in those mediums and hearing how the process works. But yes, I think it's important. Getting your name anywhere is important. Next Florida coach. It won't be James Franklin. I guess he's going to Va-Tech. So I have no idea who it's going to be. I wish it would have been Lane Kiffin, but because even though he's slimy, he gets it done. So hide the co-eds if it's him. So I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be. Did Tanner Holmes help the pay-per-view numbers of BAPS? Our pay-per-view numbers this year were roughly the same as last year. It was pretty close, like within 20 people. You told me last week to come back to ask you what grade you would give the World of Outlaws 2025 season. I did say that. Going to give them straight, probably B plus A minus. You know, it's pretty standard. They never have a C season. You know, it's streamlined. They do a good job. You know, they get their shows done. You know, they have the top two guys in the sport. They had some good storylines. Bill Baylog winning a couple races, and you know, Buddy Kofoid being the leading money winner. David Gravel. You know, is this going to be a dynasty for him? I think there's a lot of different things there. So I would give it B plus A minus. Needed to work on the jump starts. I think they failed in that aspect a little bit, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. Would Timms be eligible for Woo Rookie after winning the Nationals? I remember Brady Smith. Brady Smith was denied World of Outlaws late model rookie because he won the Knoxville late model. I wouldn't see. No, as long as he hasn't run a national series, he should be rookie. So no, I wouldn't. I don't see why he wouldn't be a rookie. Jeremy, how did a PA guy become a Cowboys fan? Thanks for a great show as always. I started liking the Cowboys back in 1977. So it's a long time. I never liked, and it's funny, I don't like Penn State. I don't like the Eagles. The Phillies I'm okay with because my grandfather liked the Phillies, and I was kind of close to my grandfather. But I really don't like any Pennsylvania teams, and I'm from central Pennsylvania. Sometimes it's hard, and I catch a lot of criticism for that, but it's the way it is. I'm also a Florida Gators fan. I kind of like Michigan because my dad does. I grew up, you know, I like the old Barry Switzer, Oklahoma Sooners. I like excellence. And it's tough, I think. No, I don't like the Flyers. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I like the Hershey Bears. There you go. There's a local AHL team. No, I do not like Penn State wrestling, albeit I respect the fact they are the best program in history. But again, it just, when you're around a team's fans for an extended period of time, I think you start not liking that team because it gets obnoxious. And there's some, central Pennsylvania can be an obnoxious place. No offense. It can be. It's close to New York, set in their ways. We do it better, so on and so forth. And obviously we saw Penn State doesn't do it better, AKA the Sandusky issue. So again, I'm just not a Pennsylvania. I'm not a Steelers fan. Man, I was so upset when Dallas lost those Super Bowls to the Steelers. God, it was bad. God, it was bad. All right, moving on. Do you yell at clouds? No, I don't yell at clouds. I do not. I can if you want. Talk to Barry Saturday at BAP. Sounds like maybe a 2-car operation next season with Lance and Brent. Yeah, I mean, it started to be that way at the end of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if that would happen. I don't think it'll be like an every night thing, but I think it could be, bouncing back and forth. I mean, Lance is still going to run like 40 shows, I think, in his wheelhouse. So there's going to be plenty of racing in Central PA because there's always plenty of racing in Central PA. So I think that's something that could happen. Craig Kids are coming back at all in 2026. Heard he took a break, but might run some next year. I haven't heard much on the Craig Kinzer front. In fact, I've heard nothing. So we'll see. We'll see. I have not heard anything though. I don't recall anybody talking about this, but Wu let Wyndham run a rookie this year, but High Limit didn't let Reitzel. Why? I guess probably the World of Outlaws maybe don't consider High Limit a national series, and their rule is if you're a rookie with the Outlaws, then you're a rookie. High Limit understood that Reitzel ran a national tour with the Outlaws, and their rule is that if you run a national tour, in your past, you're not a rookie. You're not eligible for Rookie of the Year. So it's just two different sets of rules. What's the latest news? Well, that's vague. I can't answer. I mean, the last thing is Brock Zierfoss about 10 minutes before the show started. Prediction on who will run for Eichelberger next year. Look, they just talked in the last 24 hours, so I don't even know. I know he's gotten calls. That's what I know. That's what I know. I don't know. I don't know when that's going to be. I look for something. I mean, he's going to have plenty of options. That's for sure. He's going to have plenty of options. In your opinion, who will be the next Central PA regular to make the full-time national tour jump? I don't see anybody right now. Honestly, Logan Rumsey. Logan Rumsey, I think, will be the next one. That seems you guys might be scratching your heads. Actually, he's looked really good. He's still green. What is the latest? What is the latest tire news? Was the question earlier. It's still the same. I don't know of any changes. If something happens, that'll be a PRI, I think. I think it's still up in the air. I still think it hasn't been decided yet. I think this is something both series will get on board with. I don't think it's going to be, one series does one thing, one does the other. There's been testing with multiple teams from both series. There you go. Is Pittman in the 69K for Nationals next year? National Open, I would assume. I don't know about the Knoxville Nationals. Kreitz didn't go this year. So I don't know what their schedule is going to look like. I'd be willing to bet that Kreitz doesn't know what their schedule is for next year. The year just ended. I do expect Pittman to be in the mix. And I expect Ryan Smith to be in the mix. He had a good year. Assuming Davey Brown will still be the 69K this coming year, guy's an icon and just loves racing. I was walking toward the pit area at Babs Motor Speedway, and I saw Don Kreitz Jr. and Davey Brown walk up to the track, and I'm just amazed. Just amazed. Davey just continues to to impress me every time I see him. Just to even be getting around, and just he still comes out to the track. He's still a fixture in that team. It's just an amazing story. I'd like to get him on the deep dive. I don't know if that's something he would do. What about Schatz and Forbrook teaming up? I mean, not really sure what Forbrook's health is like. And I mean, look, it would be great. I think Guy Forbrook's one of the best in the business. So I think that would be a good combination, but I don't know where Forbrook is at this point. Any word on Zeb Wise? Also, could Cap Henry be enticed with a high limit Joker's fund? I doubt Cap Henry would be. And honestly, I had Zeb Wise on the deep dive, and which was, again, good. Check it out. The deep dives have been really good lately. And Zeb is not going to come out and just run whatever. It's going to have to be something he wants to do. It's going to have to be a good, solid ride for him. And I don't think he's in a hurry. And if he doesn't get in a car again, I think he's okay. He's restoring houses. He's just living his life, man. He's not in a hurry. When's the Geo announcement going to happen? I expect something to be released probably around PRI. Jeremy, you ever see Tobias in and around Lebanon? Not really. I know, I don't. When can we expect the Ryan Hand deep dive? I actually called Ryan, and we've been playing phone tag. He called me twice over the last few days, and I just didn't get to the phone. I didn't get a chance to call him back. He goes to bed a little earlier than I do because he gets up really, really early. I hope to get it done this week. I hope that's Thursday's deep dive. That's what I want. Australia has a box to look for traction control, and in the U.S. use a fish finder, and neither has been able to find one. Yeah. It's just let them run it. For God's sake, at this point. Rules create problems. Nobody can find it anyway. Just let them run it. Did Zerfoss do better in the 8 car or the 3Z? If you know, or about the same. Seems the same to me. I think it was pretty close to the same. He got a couple wins in the 8 car. I think he ran it more than his other car. I think for the most part, I think it was about the same outside of those 2 wins. When do you think you'll get Patty Beam on your deep dive? Good question. It's definitely somebody to consider and put in the list. I'm going to start making a list of these people, the people I want on, and just start, putting them out. I think I want to maybe have some weeks here in the off season where I do too, just for some extra content. Power Eye finale at Texas had a lot more cars than the high limit finale at Texas. Do the National Series need to get creative when it comes to drawing in lower budget teams who have no shot at winning? I mean, I think that's interesting. I think Power Eye probably drew some people away from the high limit shot. That's an interesting question. I just think it's very regionally. Like, I think when they go to certain regions, it's going to be good. And when they go to other regions, they're going to get 20 some whatever. I just think that's the way it's going to be. It's always been that way. When high limit goes to Big Sky next year up in Montana, I don't know how many they're going to get. I mean, the Outlaws for years, when they went to New York, used to pay some extra tow money for Pennsylvania guys to go up. So they had full fields. So I think that's a regional topic. What happened to the Peak Grove 70? Went from a national tour to not racing last year. Yeah, just kind of dropped off. I know they were selling a bunch of stuff, and there was rumors that he was going to get involved with another team. Brian Grove obviously ran the All-Stars, which is Pete's brother, with Devin Borden. I don't know if he had I don't know if he had his fingers in that, but there was definite word that they were going to be involved with another team, a prominent team, and it didn't work out that way. Do you think National Midget Series have fallen in popularity the last few years? Outside of Chili Bowl, the interest just hasn't been the same. Well, I think they lost some guys. Obviously, Emerson Axum, Pursley, Wyndham, Kofoid. I don't think any of that helped. You lose stars like that, it's going to affect you. And I think USAC is trying to find its way a little bit and kind of gain some of that notoriety they had years ago. So they're going to have to build new stars, or they're going to have to pay more money like they're trying to do now, which I like. I think that's all, that's all good stuff. But again, yeah, I think it has fallen off because they're losing guys to the wing ranks. Jeremy, I have been offered to take my talents to South Beach Dirt Vision for 2026. Should I accept the inauguration or no? I don't even know what that means. South Beach Dirt Vision? Are you going to? Yeah, I don't even know what that means. To be a little clearer, any top young Aussies coming over to run Woo or High Limit in 2026? I don't see any. Nope, not that I know of. Since you live so close, we need you to cover the Linda's National Open next year. Oh, come on. No, I can't. I have enough on my plate with sprint car racing. It's when I'm not covering sprint car racing, I still have other stuff to do. I like to wind down and do some other stuff. Jeremy, all systems go for SprintCarUnlimited Black Friday sale. Yes, it is. I might start it a little early. I might start it Sunday and just run it all week. So we'll see. What do you know about the PA Speed Week schedule for 2026? Any changes? Yes, there is a rotation on the last race. I do think Selinsgrove will get a race next year. We'll see. It has not been released yet, but that's my understanding. Still waiting for the Jeff Shepard deep dive. Kenny Adams will be a good one too. Oh, I appreciate it. I didn't think of the Kenny Adams one, but yes, thank you. Any suggestions are good. Jeremy, who would you put in your car if you owned a team right now today for 2026? Donnie Schatz or Sheldon Hodenshield? Wow. Oh. Wow. Probably Donnie. A little easier on equipment, and if I'm starting a team, I kind of want to get my feet wet. If I'm going for longevity and I have $100 million, I'd probably put Sheldon in. So but it would be Donnie. Plus, you're getting a team off the ground. Donnie's experience. Donnie knows feel. He can tell me more. So Donnie, it'd be Donnie. Jeremy, what's going on with merch? I need a shirt. I heard, you guys are killing me. I go to the track and I hear about merch all the time now. You guys. Waiting for Tim Green and Steve Kent deep dives. I'm getting to it. Trust me, it will happen. Deep dive gambler chassis creator CK Spurlock. That's your best comment tonight, Sugar Bear. If you could change the National Open format, what would it be? I would stick a couple more bucks in the back end of that thing so I could draw more cars, and I'd go to 3 days. And I'd split field it because you need about 60 cars. You go 30-30. I think that would be okay. So I think, you don't have to have 50 each day. It doesn't need to be the Knoxville Nationals. I think you could go 30-30, and I think you'd be fine. That would be my change. They never really gave that a chance because it rained. They had some rain issues when they tried that, and it didn't go well. So that I'd put some money in the back end of that thing and get more cars. Deep dive, Stevie Smith. Yeah, he's hard to get, though. It's hard to get. Andy Graves' deep dive was great. I didn't know he moved up through the ranks to Toyota. Yeah, I thought he was just an industry guy. This is a guy who started in upstate New York and helped his dad run a speed shop. It's an incredible story. I recommend people go check out the deep dive with Andy Graves. You're going to learn a lot. Would love a deep dive on the logistics of national tour team, maintaining inventory, weekly, nightly maintenance, downtime activities, etc. That's a really good idea. I think sometimes I try and get locked into people's stories and maybe an issue and have somebody on to explain that. So that's actually a good point. Maybe do a deep dive issue and try and piece like 2 or 3 people together to talk about different aspects of it. Good idea. Who would you say is one of the most underrated drivers in PA? One who has talent but doesn't get a lot of attention. I like Cameron Smith right now. I liked what he did at the 50. I think he's just gaining more and more experience, and I think he's getting more aggressive. So I Cameron Smith right now. Up and coming. Watch Logan Rumsey in the future. Would you consider hosting a live roundtable discussion live on YouTube? Sure. If I had a good topic and something was really good, I would absolutely do that. Yes, Lauda asked about shop tours. It's something if I can piece it together in the off season where people actually have stuff at the shop, because they're ordering it. Yes, I would definitely do that. Best trophy in 410 sprint car racing. Ooh. Boy, that Weichert's Bullhead's really good. I think the Eagle Nationals, don't they have an Eagle trophy? I think that's really good. There's another one I'm missing. I do like the Weichert's Bullhead, though. That's sweet. That's really sweet. Do you ever see any high limit races getting national TV coverage as some Woo races have in the past? I just don't know if they get enough of a rating yet. Fox Sports 1 did that one from Eldora. We'll see if they do that again this year. They had some hiccups with the rain and all that other stuff. Threw a little bit of a wrench in it. That's tough because the viewership, the sport just isn't big enough to be on television right now. We'll see. Race historian Stephen Bubb could be a great guest for the deep dive. Yeah, I know Steve Bubb. How long will 360 survive with the cost going up? I think 360 racing's down across the board, except New York. They seem to do well up there with ESS. They get some guys coming over from Canada. I think the West Coast still has, decent 360 racing. So, yeah, I don't. it just seems like it's stagnant or declining in areas. So I don't, there's got to be, something's got to change. How close is Cameron Smith to outperforming the 75 equipment? Is there a next step for him in the future? I think they have good equipment. I just don't know where you could go, though. Because if you think about it, Chase Dietz isn't old. He's into 23. Gary Kaufman's done after Detroit. That's not going anywhere. Then you have the Hefner car. They're pretty happy with Troy Wagaman. So I think the 75 has good equipment. I know Rick Lefevre puts a good piece on the track. I just think, again, Cameron Smith's got to get experience. I think maybe, I don't know if you need to move cars. Maybe if you get a more experienced crew chief, maybe. I don't know. But those are hard to find as well. Not that who they have now. I'm just trying to think. I just think it's an experience factor. As for getting a bigger ride or a higher profile ride, I just don't think there's any available in this area. I think the 75 is just fine. Why do we still have Sprint 350s to 360s? Why not combine them? Dude, that's been asked for a very, very long time, and it's just not going to happen. 360s in Central PA are just about dead. URC is just about dead. So there's no reason to combine with something that is probably going to cease to exist at some point here. Could the second Hefner car join a tour? Oh, no. No. No, that's not happening. All right. That's a wrap on the questions. I'm being told by Eric. He's had enough. So thank you to everybody who joined the chat, everybody who called. Greatly appreciated. If you like the content on our YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We also have plenty of exclusive daily content at SprintCarUnlimited.com. I might miss a day here and there in the off season, but for the most part, we're putting stuff on there as well. We're going to have a Black Friday sale. And again, we'll be back next Tuesday, even though it's the off season. So stay tuned.